lighting and open water. I have Ebony doing it. Rebecca told me that normally that you do.
Usually, worship assistant, when Ebony's here, the worship assistant usually reads the chalice lighting.
Ebony C.
That's perfectly okay. She sent it with her full names, sets of sermons.
Good morning. What a lovely morning for Mother's Day. And happy Mother's Day to all of you who have been our mothers in whatever way you have been our mothers. And may you feel the gratitude of all of us who have benefited from your mothering. Whether this is your first time with us or your 1001st, I think I'm somewhere around 275, but never mind. Please know that you are welcome here and that we're glad to have you. We're continuing to navigate how to best offer services between online and in person. And we're glad to provide this forum to find comfort and to recommit ourselves to the mission of supporting one another in our spiritual journeys, working for justice in a time that needs justice, caring for the earth that needs our care, and building the common good. We gather to recommit ourselves to dismantling systems of oppression and injustice. It is good to be together. We have 3 announcements this morning. First, don't forget, next week, May 18th, we have the annual congregational potluck and meeting. The potluck starts at 5 o'clock. The meeting starts at 6. However, I am reminded by the Board of Trustees that we need a quorum, okay? So please don't show up at 5:59. Be nice to everybody, no later than 5:45. That way we can get you checked in, confirm that we have a quorum. Second, there will be a great decisions session starting today at 11:45. That's after the service here in the chapel. Our topic will be artificial intelligence and what it means for American security. And Laura Parrell-Haney has kindly offered to lead us in that discussion. And finally, I'd like to invite Bonnie Brandt, who's been part of our Circles of Concern, to say a few words about what we can do in this time of challenge to our values and our future. Bonnie?
Thank you. Good morning. As some of you know, my name is Bonnie Brandt, and I am a member of this church, and I am the lead for our Social Justice Committee. And so, I don't know about you guys, but my email box is flooded with things I could possibly do. And I don't have time to sort through it all. So what my goal is to try and sort through just a couple things. If you're interested in having an action that includes social justice, which is very all-encompassing, I invite you just to come and talk or let me know if there's something I can do to help. So today I'd like to say church member Zoe McShane is collecting donations for expectant mothers in a migrant solidarity mutual aid network. If you want to bring up donations, including Similac or baby items, and put them in the coat closet, I'll make sure they get where they need to go. And if you have questions, let me know. And yesterday, Eleanor and a couple other members from this church went to an event to talk about how we save democracy. And with that, I just want to remind you that early voting is taking place now, and it does matter. Things like school board members and other things that we can have an influence over what happens to us locally are very important. And so with that in mind, I want to say I have more information available, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody after coffee. And the one thing I learned yesterday was a phrase that says, action is the antidote to despair. So if you'd like to do something, please let me know. I'll be happy to get you coordinated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. Please continue to look to your emails, phones, website for continuing updates about worship and other church happenings. And know that if you are ever in need, your church staff is an email or a phone call away. Finally, as we turn to our service, just a content warning. The sermon contains sensitive comments and content on miscarriages and abortion. Please be advised if you are with children listening. If you need to step away or take a break, please feel free to do so without hesitation. And the MVUC care team and our pastoral care minister is here to support you. I invite you now to take a deep breath with me as we enter into this time of worship.
Good morning, and happy Mother's Day. Now, our chalice sliding. These opening words by Mary J. Harrington. Come together in praise and thanksgiving. We come together today for the gift of life itself. Someone gave birth to us, and some of us have given birth. All of us have been mothered in our time. All of us have mothered. Let our time today be one of recognition that we arrive from so many places: joy and delight, wistfulness and longing and worry, unmet needs and unfulfilled dreams, loss and sorrow and emptiness, loss and regret. All that life is made of, mothers are who of two. Today we sing the songs of so many mothers, foster parents, mothers who found their heart in adoption, and children in 1,000 ways. we sing a song of gratitude for all the moments of being known, being cherished, being found. In our opening hymn, 301, Touch the Earth.
Please stand as you're willing and able and join us in singing this morning.
Please remain standing and join me in reaffirming our covenant found in the back cover of your hymnal, in your order of service, and in our hearts. Love is the teaching of this church. The quest of truth is its daily task, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve life in community, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. This is our covenant with each and with all. You may be seated. Good morning. We now come to our offertory, and as a generous community, we have been long in the custom of what we call sharing the plate. And that means that our donations today go 50-50 to our church here, Mount Vernon Unitarian, and to a cause that you have identified, you, our members. And for the month of May, our donation is going to the Mary Tyson. You know what? I'm going to switch from my... There we go. Okay. It goes to the Katie Tyson Fund for Youth and Young Adult Ministries. This fund was created in memory of the daughter of Herb and Karen Tyson, who was killed in a traffic accident in 2009 when she was 21 years old, traveling to and from a Unitarian event, okay? This fund is dedicated to kindling the sparks of leadership among Unitarian Universalist youth and young adults. It supports scholarships, grants, and programs for youth, young adult projects, conferences, and community outreach, as well as attendance by youth and young adults at General Assembly and the UU Summer Seminar. We are a community that invites spiritual and material generosity. I give because in these times of challenge, here is where we build community and where we lead from that community to make a difference. I invite this gathered community to offer whatever you are most comfortable with in spirit and financial generosity for the mission of our church and community. If you would like to write and mail a check for the offering, please make it to MVUC, and in the memo line indicate how you would like it to be used. You can also follow the link in your program to make a one-time or recurring payment. However you do it, we are so grateful for your donation. Will the ushers please come forward at this time?
Thank you. And now we take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. And if you would like, we invite you to come forward and light a candle as an expression of a joy or sorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for lighting the candles. Thank you for the music. Thank you for being here. I'm Eleanor Pease, also Reverend Eleanor Pease. I'm the pastoral care minister part-time. And yesterday I was at an event in my other role, which is as affiliated community minister. And I was with Bonnie and some other members and friends and Unitarian Universalists and other liberal faiths from the Northern Virginia area. And we were focusing on starting a UU voice in Richmond, Virginia, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, through a UU state action network. And I say this in the context of Mother's Day, because Mother's Day has roots in movements for peace and justice and anti-war work and anti-poverty work and crossing bridges, because we all know that war and poverty are not healthy for children or for adults or for any living thing on this planet. So on that note, I also want to say, as your pastoral care minister, I am here for Mother's Day in all of its beauty, all of our celebrations of the limitless, enfolding love of the universe that many of us, but not all of us, experienced as babies in the arms of our mothers. And I am also here for the complications of that. It takes me back to a different idea of God and gods. Instead of one single God that is, in a very contradictory, mysterious way, manages to be both, or all three things, all-knowing, all-powerful, and all good. You know, there used to be versions of gods where some of them were all-knowing, some of them were all-powerful, and some of them were all good, and it didn't always come in the same package. So that's kind of how I feel about Mother's Day. I love the good part. I love the sense of the unfolding and enfolding love of the universe. And I'm here for all of it. And I look forward to talking with you personally and hearing about your experiences. Amen.
Would you join us in singing our children out to their classes words or in your order of service? Singing our meditative hymn, please, 326, Let All the Beauty We Have Known, 326. Please remain seated.
We
into a time of meditation. Will you pray with me? This Mother's Day prayer by Reverend Tess Bamberger. Whether or not we are mothers, we all have mothers. Mothers whose bodies nurture our bodies as they emerge in the darkness. Mothers whose thoughts and feelings swirl through the currents of the womb. Mothers whose oxygen breathed into us helped root our souls into this world. However, they nurtured us after. We all had that deep body connection with our biological mothers before birth. Motherhood runs deeply through our lives, as do our feelings about mothering. The mothers of some gathered here have died in the past few years. As we breathe together, let us breathe comfort into the hearts of those children who mourn their mothers. There are mothers here who have children who have died, or children lost behind the walls of estrangement, which life sometimes places between mothers and children. As we breathe together, let us breathe comfort into the hearts of those mothers who mourn their children. There are mothers here who have always wanted to be mothers, but whose lives never presented them the opportunity. As we breathe together, let us breathe reassurance into the hearts of mothers whose children take different forms. Accomplishments, acts of creativity and love, workings of the Spirit. There are those among us who have troubled pasts with their mothers, and those who have troubled presents or futures with their mothers. As we breathe together, let us breathe strength and hope into the hearts of those connections who to their mothers have twists and sometimes cause pain, sometimes distress. And there are those among us who celebrate this day with mothers who are strong, loving, guiding forces. Mothers who taught them to laugh, to sing, to cry, to think, to feel, to work, to play, to love, and to live. As we breathe together, let us breathe the gladness and joy of motherhood at its best. Motherhood that nurtures in ways that often can't be seen. Motherhood whose deep connections continue to feed our souls with the breath, the blood, the loving currents of life. Amen. Earlier in our announcements, we mentioned a content warning, and I will mention it one last time. This sermon, it does contain some sensitive content about miscarriage, abortion, and if you need to step away at any time, it's a beautiful day outside. I will not get offended one bit. I would love to see you, beloveds, to take care of yourself. Reverend Eleanor Peace is right here. Raise your hand. Please don't hesitate. She is here for you. Please don't hesitate. This past Wednesday, I was in Washington, D.C. at a networking event, and a lady I was talking to, she asked me if I had any children. I replied, yes. A 12-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy, and a 17-year-old cat. The lady was nice and polite, but I could tell from the look on her face that she gave me that she was not a cat person. So I made light of the situation. I did feel a little awkward, but I quickly changed the subject. And I reflected on this later and wondered why I always bring up my cat when people ask me about my children. For one, my cat, Xena, I had her before anyone else. Xena is a furry animal, but she's someone I take care of and who depends on me. A lot of nurturing goes her way. By most definitions, I am her mother. Because to be a mother does not have to include giving birth. What I find interesting is in studies from the Pew Research Center, for example, show that 62% of Americans own a pet, and nearly all U.S. pet owners, about 97%, say their pets are part of the family. On top of this, 51% not only consider their pets to be a part of their family, but they say they are as much a part of their family as a human member. I'm in that 51%. If you break it down further, the lower your income, the more likely you are to consider your pet to be as much of a part of your family as a human member. This means that 64% of low-income people feel this way, compared to 46% of those with middle incomes and 43% of those with higher incomes. This Mother's Day, what I have on my mind is my cat, my children, my own mother, and my maternal grandmother. What also settles in my spirit is Mother Earth and the many ways in which our natural environment nourishes and connects us with the divine. As I imagine motherhood and mothering this morning, I'm reminded that Mother's Day can be cause for gratitude as much as it can trigger trauma and bad memories. Some of us in church this morning with our mothers or mother figures, some of us may have already called or texted your mother or those who have mothered you. On the other hand, some of you may have plans to visit a cemetery later today, or perhaps call that friend or family member to check in on them, that person who might be struggling with the loss of a mother, or perhaps that person who is a mother and who experienced the loss of a child. Perhaps the child that never was, the child that cannot today give us a Mother's Day card because they never made it alive out of the womb. Or perhaps they died too young. Mother's Day, celebrates mothers and motherhood, but it also reminds mothers about those dear ones in which they are no longer able to mother and pour their love into. As I imagine motherhood and mothering this morning, I think about the men and non-binary people with a uterus and with ovaries who bring life into this world too. They are nurturing and mothering, but may identify as fathers. And of course, fathers can nurture and mother, because mothering and motherhood is all a big social construct, something we as human beings within our society have made meaning of, use symbols and language and ideas and label all of this mothering and motherhood. One of my intersex friends, he calls himself a seahorse. And if you don't know about that, a seahorse is one of the animals where the men give birth, the male of the species. I wonder, why do we need to use gender-specific labels on everything most of the time? And so yes, I'm including our trans and non-binary siblings in this conversation because many of them too can bring life. And many of them too are impacted when reproductive rights are stripped away. As I am imagining motherhood and mothering this morning, I think about the men who wanted to be fathers and the mothers who made a different choice. I think about the mothers who wanted their children, but the fathers made a different choice. In 2022, a research from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health explained that women in the United States who are pregnant or who have recently given birth are more likely to be murdered than die from complications related to pregnancy. And these homicides are linked to both intimate partner violence and firearms. This study went on to show that the United States has a higher prevalence of intimate partner violence than compared to other countries, and that such violence is often fatal and frequently involves guns. A deeper dive into this same study reveals two additional tragic findings. For example, from 2009 to 2019, 68% of pregnancy-related homicides involved firearms, and then number two, that Black women face substantially higher risk of being killed than white or Hispanic women during pregnancy. So this morning, I think of all of the women who might have been so happy to learn that they would be bringing life into this world, but never knew the idea of bringing life into the world would trigger someone else to take theirs. This Harvard study is not isolated by any means. For example, a 2021 research study from the National Institutes of Health called Homicide During Pregnancy and Postpartum in the United States, it revealed that homicide is the leading cause of death during pregnancy and the postpartum period in the United States. That pregnancy and the postpartum period are times of elevated risk for homicide among all females of reproductive age. It's just perplexing to me and deeply saddening to me that for those who mother by giving life, this also makes them more likely to lose theirs. What kind of world is it we live in for this to be our truth? Here in the United States, this so-called land of the free. And who is really free? Many people celebrate Mother's Day, but there are those who want little to nothing to do with being a mother. And that is their right. There's enormous expectations for mothers, from risking their life to risking their happiness and freedom. I have never been more aware of it as I am now. But in social media, the classrooms in which I teach, and the professional network in which I'm a part, a big elephant in the room, that question that has become pretty loud is motherhood even worth it? This is an interesting question because a number of so-called authoritative sources, including Psychology Today, which is an online magazine started back in print back in 1967, they cite numerous studies that seem to indicate that single women without children are the happiest group. If you ask me, the only happier group is a single woman without children that maybe has at least a cat or two. So this study, and these multiple studies that have been around this issue, specifically say that single women without children are happier and healthier than men and married women with children. The only group that comes second to single women without children, married men. And that's another thing. When my children gave me Mother's Day gifts yesterday, because I told them I'd be churching all day today, so they gave me their gifts yesterday, a small part of me wondered if Mother's Day is partly about thanking mothers for choosing to have children, when many studies seem to indicate that if we had not made that choice, we'd actually be happier, healthier, and financially wealthier. And so there's this choice. And a lot of times I feel society doesn't want us to even know these studies. They don't want you to know that, you're single, child-free, and cats, and you're just happy. So this choice, there are mothers who never chose to be mothers, who might have chosen not to be a mother if they were given that choice. If they had a voice when it came to their reproductive choices. Despite the benefits of a single child-free lifestyle for women, in this study it said that the existing narrative that marriage and children were signs of success meant that stigma could lead to some single women to feel unhappy. So it's the cultural pressure, the stigma that causes unhappiness, not the lifestyle itself. So again, is motherhood even worth it? Well, it certainly matters to this presidential administration. Can we talk about this for a second? Have any of you heard the latest on this? Yes. Interesting is not the word, but we'll just keep going. The Trump administration is considering a few incentives for women to have children. These have not been finalized, but they include, for example, a $5,000 baby bonus to every American mother after she gives birth, and a National Medal of Motherhood to mothers with 6 or more children. In an article last month from ABC News, Christian Roy Finkerberger, she's the CEO of a nonprofit called Moms Rising, and this nonprofit, it advocates on behalf of more than 1 million mothers and families. She says this about these programs. She says, they're sheer lunacy, coercive and counterproductive recipes for failure. She goes on to explain that these proposals from the Trump administration are reportedly considering will not open avenues for moms, families, or our economy to thrive. She said that those who want families to have more babies should support the policies that build the care infrastructure families and businesses need. When we become a family-friendly country, families will have more children. So how can we imagine a family-friendly country when it seems to me that we are not a mother-friendly country, a woman-friendly country, a country that upholds basic human rights, reproductive rights? I think about the mothers who choose abortion. I think about my grandmother. I think about my grandmother's lack of choices. Around 80 years ago, my maternal grandmother, Queen Irene Peace, her world turned upside down. She was pregnant. She was an unmarried woman, but she and her boyfriend were in love. He was a year younger than her, and so her boyfriend's mother thought my grandmother took advantage of him and sent him away so he couldn't marry her as he wanted to do. My grandmother's father was a holiness bishop in the Pentecostal church. So to say my grandmother was afraid was an understatement. She submitted her fate to an illegal back alley abortion. You know, the kind with the wire hanger. My grandmother, Queen Irene Peace, she made it out alive, but not without consequences. For one, the whole event did not result in the termination of her pregnancy. Two, the botched procedure rendered her infertile for the rest of her life. I believe if my grandmother had access to a safe abortion, my mother would not be here. And neither would I. And I still believe with all my heart in a woman's right to choose, a person's right to choose, woman or not. My grandmother was a waitress. She enjoyed sewing, and she used her waitress money to send herself to seamstress school. And then she used her seamstress money to invest in low-end real estate. She worked her way up. Because when the back alley abortion failed, her father sent her away, as they did in those days. You go over there, you have your baby, sometimes you give it up. But my mom, she kept my mother. And as a single unmarried woman, she brought her back, and she waitressed during the day. In the summers, my mother would go spend time with her extended family because my grandmother couldn't afford childcare in the summers. So my mom spent months away with extended family. But during the school year, my grandmother was a waitress. She saved up her waitressing money to pay for herself to go to seamstress school. And then with her money she earned from being a seamstress, she started to invest in these really low and real estate things. And my grandmother, she rented these small, tattered, but clean rooms to countless poor Black men during the Great Migration to the North. She was officially an independent, successful woman. The family who shunned her while she was pregnant now asked her for financial help. She helped them. And decades later, they haven't forgotten. They tell me about how she helped them. And her success also allowed my mother to finish school. My mother became the first in her generation to attend college, to get a PhD in chemistry, and to eventually become an OBGYN medical doctor. A generation later, my mother provided reproductive health care to women and girls that my grandmother never had a safe or affordable access to. As a little girl, I worked in my mother's office where she practiced her OBGYN stuff and saw her patients. And one day, I filed and picked up the phone and stuff like that. And one day, I received an angry call asking if we offered abortions. I was scared and I said, no, and I hung up the phone. And later, my mother explained to me, because I asked her, my mother explained to me that if we weren't careful, the office could get bombed because of what people thought. I asked my mother if she performed abortions. She never said yes. She would only say that her responsibility was to her patients, that she considered not just their medical needs, but their emotional needs and personal circumstances. In the later stages of her career, my mother had several patients who delivered 3 generations of babies. You'd see them on the wall, the patient, and then the daughter became the patient, and then the grandbaby, and it was really nice. And my mother had white patients, but most of her patients were women of color. And I distinctly remember she served many heavily covered immigrant women. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but they were wearing the hijab. And I also remember the men who got agitated with my mother when she refused to allow them into the examination room. When mailing annual wellness reminders, these little postcards that I had to handwrite and stamp, I asked the office manager, why are so many of these out-of-state addresses? And I learned that my mother's patients had lived in the area at one time, but if they moved out of state for whatever reason, instead of changing doctors, many of them stayed. They would travel for their annual appointments and drive hours back. And then I asked my mother about this, and she explained to me that having high-quality, affordable reproductive health care where you feel safe and respected was not common. And this was something to be cherished and valued, especially for women of color. And as I imagine motherhood and mothering this morning, I pray for a time where high-quality, affordable reproductive health care, where women and girls and everyone who needs it feels safe and respected, and that it becomes common, practiced, and made available as a basic human right. I pray with gratitude for the care, love, and protection of mothers, Mother Earth, and that which nourishes. I pray that one day mothering might be genderless, or at least considered more inclusive. I pray that as we explore new ways of cultivating the seeds of our future, that we uplift reproductive justice and gender equity, that we uplift our Unitarian Universalist core value of justice. May it be so.
Would you stand as you're willing and able. Join us in singing our closing hymn, 1064, Blue Boat Home.
I'm going to insert something at this point in the service. The sermon we heard today is the reason I'm a Unitarian. With that, let us extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
This blessing by Eric Williams. Let us bless the earth in all that is steady and firm. Let us bless the sky and all that is open and filled with lights. Let us bless their union wholly without ceasing. Let us bless their children, the bounty of field and forest, stones, plants, animals, and all living things. May the gifts of the earth and sky strengthen, refresh, nourish, and heal the peoples of the earth. Amen.